What's going on, everybody? I'm Riku and welcome back to another video of Inazuma 11 Victory Road. Today I want to have more of a chill video. I've been making highly edited videos for you guys, and now we're about 24 hours away from the early access period, so I want to have a little bit of fun and say a few things that I'd really like to see in Inazuma 11 Victory Road. So if you enjoy the video, consider leaving a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any Inazuma 11 content that I'll be putting out down the line. Make sure you also leave your own things that you'd like to see in Inazuma 11 Victory Road, and said all that, let's jump straight into the video. The first thing I'd like to see is more on old characters, be it their sons or daughters, anything, more on the returning characters. I'm so hyped that one of the most prominent characters in the trailers is actually Mark Evans' son, Harper. Just being the son of the legendary goalkeeper that sparked Japanese football to another level holds a ton of responsibility for Harper's character writing. And honestly, so far, they've made him a very lovable character that's filled to the brim with hype. I can imagine them doing the same thing with Axel's or even Jude's son or daughter, and making them important characters on the field. Like, could you imagine how cool it would be for Jude's daughter, let's say, to be a commanding strategist midfielder, just like her father, and Destin has to try and one-up her at every play to make South Cirrus, the victor of the match? The possibilities are honestly endless, and I'd really like to see them delve more into this. The second thing I'd love to see in Inazuma 11 Victory Road is for Destin to play in a match. As we know, he has a certain condition that impedes him from playing football. But what if all of the holograms that we can see throughout the story, as well as his passion for football, ends up allowing him to play in one final match against Raymon? Maybe he even does a Mixie-Max or a Bond transformation with a player from South Cirrus and is able to play the match that way. Call me crazy, but I think it would be a huge point of influx, a huge moment narratively for Destin's character if he does end up playing. Another thing that I'd like to see is Ray Dark. He's probably one of the most important characters in the franchise, and the last time we saw him, we don't really know where he went. We don't know where he is. So maybe he's associated with the villain of Chronicle Mode, which is the Mind Eater. So it seems that it wants to destroy football from all of the timelines, from the past, the present, the future. So it's kind of convoluted, but Ray Dark has always been a character that, at his core, he wanted football to disappear. And every time we think he's gone, he somehow magically, it seems, comes back in some way. So I definitely see it as a possibility that Ray Dark ends up being one of the focal points for Chronicle Mode's narrative. I'd also love to see the updates for Inazuma 11 Victory Road bring collab players to the game. These could range from the fabled Hidetoshi Nakata to players from different IPs such as Isagi Yoichi, Rin, Bachira, or even Nagi from Blue Lock. I think it would be one of the biggest collabs for Inazuma 11 specifically, since Blue Lock has made quite a few references to Inazuma 11. So seeing these two collab is definitely not an impossible idea. It's definitely something that can happen, and I think it would bring a lot of eyes to Inazuma 11. So maybe a lot of people try out Inazuma 11 thanks to their favorite characters from Blue Lock making it in. I don't know, it's just a thought, something that I've actually been thinking about for quite a few months now. It would be amazing to see, Captain Tsubasa as well in Inazuma 11 Victory Road. Just anything from other sports anime, especially the more popular ones, the more classic ones. It would honestly be amazing, and they could honestly go to town with it. Another thing that I think would be amazing for them to add is side stories or stories that they had planned in the past but cancelled the project. Maybe a grounded Inazuma 11 future where it's a couple hours of story, possibly adding the Battle 11 OVA. There's so many things that they could just add to the game to keep it going, especially since they already have the models or the concepts of these characters. So they could just bring them back, or maybe just have a Inazuma 11 future. The characters are being added to the game. We get a little bit of like backstory on who they are, what they were supposed to do. Maybe something like that, like a smaller scale update, but definitely something that's huge for players who have stuck around for so long that they just remember, cancelled projects like that one. Adding to this, I'd love for Victory Road's story to carry on in some way in a form of a DLC expansion down the line. Maybe in summer 2026, we could definitely see a World Cup story to celebrate that. There's a real World Cup happening, so that would obviously put so many more eyes into Inazuma 11 Victory Road. There's the hype of the World Cup. A lot of people want to buy sports games, specifically football games, during the World Cup. So it would be an amazing way as well to see new versions of past teams. So, for example, we could see maybe Rabingo from Brazil be the coach of Brazil. We could see Hector, be like a mentor to a character in the Little Gigantes of this new story. I don't know. It just feels like they could really go to town. Maybe we could even see Kevin's son be one of the Italy players, since he plays in Italy professionally now. So there are so many possibilities for them to just add certain things that it's definitely not out of the idea, let's say, to have a World Cup of sorts be in Inazuma 11 Victory Road. Another thing that I'd love isn't specifically in the game, but it's more in the real world. I'll explain. I'd love to see Inazuma 11 Victory Road hit past the 1 million sales. This game is top charting everywhere on every platform and in most regions, so my biggest wish is for the game to get well past the 1 million sales, especially with how much of a development hell this game has been for level 5. So it would be definitely something that, they see that the Inazuma 11 community is there, that we love the game, we're still there. I don't know, it would just feel like it would be like a very big moment, for the game to hit past the 1 million, hopefully the 2 million sales. That is a little bit that is like stardom over there, but hopefully we are able to get to the 1.5 million sales. That would be amazing for the series. So hopefully we are able to get that. So thinking a little bit more out of the box, I think it would be cool if we could also customize our own team kit. So make our own outfit for our own team, similarly to how Animal Crossing allows you to do that. So, there are just so many artists in the community, and I'm sure we'll see some absolute bangers come out from this. I honestly would love to see this in game. Another thing that I would love to see in Inazuma 11 Victory Road is Goldie. You know why? I don't think I have to remind you. I really hope that the hyper power-ups aren't limited, so I don't want it to be a way so that only a specific player or a specific selection of players in the game can use fighting spirits or cash-ins, however you want to call them. Another one for Miximax, etc. I don't want it to be a just players that you've seen have fighting spirits, cash-ins, or Miximax. Only those are able to use them. I love how dynamic it felt in the DS games, the strategy involved where your teammate could summon a cash-in or a fighting spirit, and you would have to find a way to counter it so that, you basically neutralize their fighting spirit or cash-in. So, it would just feel like any player having the ability to use one, and also for the Miximax, the transformations, the awakenings, all of that, and maybe not the mode change, that would be its own separate thing for a specific amount of players, but definitely allowing all 5,000 players to use a fighting spirit would honestly be amazing to see. It would just bring a whole big amount of layer of strategy to the game. So it would definitely require a lot of planning involved of who you think would be the best to Miximax, who the best would be to summon their fighting spirit, who would be the best to bond transform. The possibilities and strategy involved could honestly bring Inazuma 11 to be one of the more complex games out there. And I think that's what they're going for. So for tournaments, we're able to see that their approach is we want it to be sort of like an esports. So if you were to limit how many players can use a fighting spirit or Mixie Max, I think it would reduce quite a lot of strategy and planning involved, but we'll have to see how that works in game. That was a whole lot of Yapfest. I'm so sorry. And lastly, my biggest hope for Inazuma 11 Victory Road is that Harper Evans and Nikas join South Cirrus. They're building up these characters to be very important to the story, so I'd love to see them join us in our battle to reach the top of the football frontier. Anyways, that's going to be everything for today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll hopefully be streaming tomorrow for the early access launch of Inazuma 11 Victory Road. So I'd recommend you pop by, say hi, and we'll be having a blast on stream. I have nothing else to say. I was Riku, and I will see you all in the next video. Adios.